Try number two. Hey, I am your Sinister Jacket, and today I'm here to do a Seven Innocents ranking video. Main reason why I'm doing it is partially because it's my favorite anime of all time, and I'll probably do a video on why I think Seven Innocents is one of the best anime of all time. But the main reason is because the way how I see people ranking it, they use the numbers. They use the confirmed power levels instead of, looking at the feats of strength that each of the characters have done and basing it off of that. And when they use pure power levels, a lot of characters get put in the bottom they really don't deserve to be put in the bottom. Not to mention that Seven of the Sins is ended, and so far, to my knowledge, there hasn't been a single person who's done a ranking video of the current sins while they're all at their peak. So I just want to be the first. I want to be the guy who manages to do that first. So weakest. So I'll be going through all seven of the sins, and giving my reasoning for why I think each sin is where they are in the ranking. But I will also, after the ranking, I will talk about Elizabeth, who is, in my opinion, the honorary member of the Seven Sins, and I'll tell you where I place her and why. So, first up, number 7. In my opinion, the weakest sin at the end of the show, and I will be going into manga spoilers, so if you haven't read the manga yet, don't watch the fucking video. But yeah, number 7, weakest sin, in my opinion, would have to go to Merlin. A lot of people say that Deanne is the weakest, and in actuality, she's not. It's Merlin. There are a lot of reasons why I say that. Feet wise, she's impressive, but she's not as impressive as other members of the Sins who are, pulling off mountain busting feats with no difficulty. Deanne fucking threw Deanne threw basically an island at the Demon King in the final arc. Well, in the second to final arc. But it's not only because her feats aren't really that good. The biggest reason why is because she never grew in the story. Her character stayed the same, and her power stayed the same. The Merlin that we see in the beginning of the series, late season 1 and the entirety of season 2, that's the Merlin that we get throughout the entire show. She does not grow in power at all. She stays the exact same power. Now, yes, she does go into her original form, her lolly state, and she's a fucking monster. But nothing about her really changes fundamentally. Where when you look at all the other sins, their power grows exponentially. They become complete monsters in their own rights. So yeah, overall, I think Merlin's the weakest link. She really doesn't have, she doesn't at the end of the series. She really doesn't have the power to keep up with any of them. After her, at number 6, I would have to put Deanne. People were expecting Deanne to be low on the list, but frankly, I don't think that's because Deanne is weak. I feel like the only reason why I'm putting her this low on the list is because everyone else on the list is just so much more ridiculously overpowered that I can't put her higher. And that's going to be the trend for the rest of this video. The only member of the Sin that I think is weak is Merlin. And even still, she's not weak in comparison to everyone else. It's just that compared to the Sins, she's weak. She's pathetic. She's easily the weakest. But well, with a couple people who aren't Sin, she's also kind of weak. But once you start getting to the Sins like Deanne and everybody above her, it all goes down to she's strong, like really strong, like above anyone who isn't her. But the sins are just ridiculous in terms of power, and there's a really big hierarchy of where the sins lie, and I can't put Deanne any higher because she isn't supposed to be high up on that hierarchy. She's one of the lowest because she can't be any of the other sins. She can't be any higher. But even still, Deanne beats. Okay, so from this point onward, I'm going to be doing it as if like the sins were just like go into an all out brawl, and like sins would, It was just a bunch of versus battles. I put Deanne over Merlin because 9 times out of 10 I see Deanne beating Merlin for a couple reasons. Firstly, while going through it, I was thinking of it as each of the sins at max power with their sacred treasures besides Escanor, which I will get to later. But each of the sins, max power, sacred treasures, and Merlin lost. Well, in my opinion, the way how I saw it is that Merlin loses more times than she wins against Deanne. Main reason for that is because Deanne has her sacred treasure, Gideon, which has its unique ability, Lightning Rod, which can absorb magic and then send it into the ground. Mix that with Deanne's ability to control the ground, control the earth, thanks to her being basically an earthbender, and the fact that she got hold of Droll's dance later on in the show, and that amplifies her power and her connection to the ground a lot, allowing her to pull off even bigger feats of power than she normally could, like her throwing a basically an island at the Demon King in the second to last arc of the show. That was her using Droll's dance to the best of its abilities, and there's Merlin doesn't have anything that comes close to being that dangerous. Now, yes, she does have her purgatory gas or whatever that's called, which could insta kill somebody, but a lot of her abilities are situational. She's a very situational fighter. When it comes to fighting people, she takes in what they're using and she uses their strategies against them. If she sees that somebody is stronger than her and that her strategies aren't going to work against them, she really can't do anything about it. And the thing is, Deanne is like the second strongest sin when it comes to pure physical raw power. Like when it comes to punching straight, she's the second strongest. She's one of the most durable sins, right up there with Escanor and Bond and Meliodas. She's the third. She's the third most durable. She's she's really hard to take down. And I don't feel like Merlin's baseline abilities are going to be enough to take out Deanne. Don't get me wrong. I still feel like Merlin can beat Deanne. I just feel like Deanne beats Merlin more times than she loses. And then above Deanne, I have Gother. Gother is no diff for both Merlin and Deanne. Gother no diffs both of them. I really feel. Don't get me wrong, both of them are strong. Gother is a monster. I can't even. I can't even list all the ridiculous crap that Gother can do without sounding like a broken record. Truly, Gother is just a monster in comparison to the sins below him. He's a monster in comparison to anyone who isn't a member of the sins. He's a monster in comparison to a lot of characters in anime for several reasons. Firstly, he's a doll, meaning that you can't kill him. You can't kill what isn't alive, and he's a doll that's being animated by a spell. So you think, oh yeah, you can just break the spell, no more Gother. Big problem with that. Merlin is the second strongest mage of all time, second only to Gother. Well, the original Gother, and I believe also Doll Gother's on the same level as the original Gother. Merlin could only negate the spell for like a couple hours. She could only get rid of the spell for a couple hours, and then the spell came back. So getting rid of the spell is going to be extremely difficult if you aren't stronger than Gother. If you are stronger than Gother, I still feel like it's going to be a pain. But if you are not stronger than Gother, it's nigh impossible. So getting rid of Gother that way is going to be impossible. And Gother being immortal helps him out in a lot of different ways. Mainly in his unique magical ability. The doll Gother and the original Gother share the same ability, where they are basically able to use illusions and control people's minds in different ways to, be a pain. Gothers use this to change the perception of people. Change the perception of people to other people. Like, he could use his abilities to make somebody think, oh, this is somebody completely different, and that would give him an edge. His abilities are very, very tricky to keep up with. And fighting Gothar's just a pain. That's all I gotta say. I can't really explain why Gothar beat. I don't think I need to explain why Gothar beats the other two because Gothar's just a pain to fight overall. He's just a really big pain to fight. Above Gothar, and this is where things get really hard to like put people. This is without doubt the hardest spot for me because above Gothar, you either have to put Bon or King. The thing is, though, during all of the simulations that I did throughout all the different battles with both of them at max, they always tied. Like no matter what kind of variable I tried to put in the match, it always ended out with Bond winning half the time, King winning the other half. Those two are so close in power to each other that I can't really find like a defining thing that can put one above the other. I really can't. It's extremely hard. Bond has pure raw power and the ability and durability and the ability to just insta kill people extremely fast. Where King has the versatility and the speed and the technique to keep up with Bond and his ridiculous abilities. There's with these two, you can put one above the other, and you'll always be right, but at the same time, you'll always be wrong, and there will be people who disagree with you, and there will be people who agree with you. You can't really put one above the other without having an argument being made the other way around. And I love that. I love that about these two characters. You really can't say, hey, this character is always going to be above this other character for this, this, and this, because no matter where you put the two characters, there's always going to be an argument against where you put them. Always, always and forever. There's always going to be an argument against where you put them. But for me, I put dang it! I really thought about it. I just started thinking about it. Originally, I put King above Bond, thanks to his versatility. When I actually think about it, Bond also has a lot of versatility and his durability and physical speed. And his speed. His speed isn't bad. King is probably faster, but speed isn't bad. Oh my god, I didn't even notice I was doing no contact. Oh my god, I'm focusing way too much on the video and not on the gameplay. But hey, whatever, the gameplay is supposed to be secondary. But yeah, both of them are relative to each other in abilities. Where King lacks in physical abilities, he makes up for in technique. Where Bond is missing in technique, he makes up for in his physical abilities. You can always find something wrong about one person, but then they have something that completely counteracts that. You can never really find a place where you can say, "Hey, this character is stronger than this character," and because with these two can be flip flopped either way, and oh, it's so hard for me to decide. I will say I would put King below Bond for a couple reasons. Firstly, like I said, Bond and King are pretty even in terms of power, so it all comes down to their unique abilities and other stuff like that, and their sacred treasure. And this is where a lot of things start coming into play. Um, Bond, Bond just recently got a sacred treasure in the second to last arc in Seven Deadly Sins. His sacred treasure gives him the ability to. Well, his sacred treasure basically increases the range of his snatch ability to who knows how large. I'm just gonna say that Bond has infinite range because he basically does. He was several hundred miles away from Britannia, and he was still able to snipe things that were heading towards Britannia at max speed with no difficulty. So yeah, you but then King also has the versatility and the abilities to keep up with Bond. So like I said, you can't really put one above the other, but I'm gonna put King below Bond. Thanks to Bond's Sacred Treasure giving him more range, as opposed to King's giving him a whole lot more versatility with the Spear Chastity Full having a bunch of different forms. If you couldn't tell, I'm having a really hard time with this part of the video. I thought I knew this part was going to be the hardest part of the video, but it's even harder than I was expecting. See, I'm just gonna say, King King above Gother, Bond above King. Now we get to the two easiest to explain. Escanor is above Bond because it's Escanor. If anyone has watched season 2 of Seven Deadly Sins, you know that Escanor is the top dog. He easily wiped the floor with Galand, and he wiped the floor with Esterosa. In his quasi-transformed state, he almost killed Gloxinia and Droll at the same time with a single attack. Escanor's been really dominating in the anime. But once you get into the manga, that's where things start getting super crazy. Because Escanor gains the one, where once it hits noon, his power reaches its maximum. He's known as Power Incarnate. He was able to beat uh, Assault Mo Meliodas, who was known as the most destructive force that the demons had. He he was the most Meliodas was the most feared demon in the middle of the war thanks to Assault Mode. Think of it as like you remember in Naruto when Minato in the third grade, I believe it was third grade ninja war, where they had basically put up a sign saying, "Hey, if you see this person, run away, you're gonna die." It Meliodas had that. He had that. Literally, there was an order where if you see Meliodas coming towards you, run away as fast as you can. You won't be able to beat him, and that was done for a really good reason. Salmo Meliodas is extremely terrifying, and the one managed to beat Assault Mode Meliodas. So yeah, and then you get into later on in the manga where he gets the ultimate one. He was able to box with the Demon King. In the one, he was able to box with the Demon King as if they were equals. In the ultimate one, he completely overpowered the Demon King, no difficulty. Escanor is extremely powerful, well above the abilities of Bond and King. And then number one, Meliodas, main character at the end of this. But Meliodas, oh boy, he gets terrifying at the end of the show. He gets really terrifying at the end of the show. I mean, like, he gains full control over Assault Mode. He gains a Demon King mode. In base, he was able to fight with the Demon King while the Demon King was controlling Zeldris's body. Hell, when Meliodas first got the form, when Meliodas first got his Demon King form, it was stated that he was so powerful that his mere presence was going to destroy the entirety of Earth, and that if he didn't leave in a couple hours, he was like all Earth was going to be destroyed. The only reason why that didn't happen is because the Demon King was killed, thus breaking the balance of light and darkness, and then Chaos was resurrected. And seeing how Chaos is absolute God, you know. Mm, mm. uh, the rules of physics don't apply anymore once absolute God is reintroduced into the franchise. Yeah, that's the only reason why everything didn't get deleted by Meliodas' pure presence. Those two factors. Yeah, Meliodas strongest sin, no diff. Escanor. So my ranking for the sins is Merlin, Deanne, Gother, King, Bond, Escanor, Meliodas. Now, I did mention that I was going to put Elizabeth on this list as like the honorary member of the Seven of Sins. Or maybe I didn't. I don't know. The video's been going on for a while. But yeah, I mentioned that I was going to put um, Elizabeth on the list as an honorary member, just like put her somewhere on the list, just to see where she stacks up in comparison to all the other sins. And frankly, I feel like she would be right above Bond and King. She would be the number 3 spot if she were a member of the Sins. The main reason why I say that is because throughout the series, Elizabeth has been shown as a somewhat weak person, even though she did manage to blast off one of Daenerys' arms with an arc when she only had one of her goddess eyes in the very beginning of the show. But once she gains back all of her goddess abilities, she's a monster. Like the Demon King was thinking he was going to be able to take out Elizabeth fairly easily, and there was nothing that she could do about it. And a bunch of things were a bunch of things happened when the Demon King was started talking crap. Firstly, Elizabeth put the Demon King on his ass. Like she instantly put him on his ass. And then Meliodas brought up the fact that to the demon she was known as Bloody Ellie, thanks to all the people that she had just massacred during the war. So yeah, I would put. So yeah, ranking. This is the end of the video. Ranking. No, Merlin, Deanne, Gother, King, Bon, Escanor, Meliodas, and if you're counting Elizabeth, put Elizabeth over Bon. That's my ranking. All of them have their own reasons for being in their rank and why I think that they should be there. And yeah, that's the end of the video. Yeah. I'm gonna record one more video for today. And yeah, if you see this video, like, comment, tell me how you would list each of the sins based off of what I told you, based off of your own knowledge. Um, yeah, that's all I gotta do. Oh yeah, and I'm gonna be uploading one more video, and I'm gonna be recording another video in less than half an hour. I am 2-3 minutes. So yeah, yeah, I'm out. Ciao.